You good, my guy? Yeah, go ahead. You can step down real quick. Step down real quick. I'm gonna call you guys up. All right, right back.
You ready, True? Ready? Yep,
Right.
we're good.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So, okay, what's up?
How you doing?
Hello.
Good. How are you?
Whoa!
Now he
My
made a
God,
jump.
West Side. Appreciate you, man.
Pause.
Almost jumped on me.
Anytime,
Let me
right?
see here.
Hey, so we
About to
here. We
smoke
here.
real
We
quick
here.
while y'all start.
Oh, my bad. I keep forgetting. I got this camera right here. My bad, Drew. Good evening, everybody. Um, this is a special Ask the Q, Speak Your Truth, if you will. Um, Definitely last minute. Um, as some of you guys know, somebody very strong in my life passed away. My uncle, who is definitely my Iron Man, if you will, passed away. He was a Marine. Um, some of the reasons why I feel that he's gone too soon, it was probably because of things he's endured when he was served in Vietnam. So it made me bring this to become a topic in regards to service members and the things that you guys all have endured throughout your times within services, ailments, struggles, relationships, things like that. I mean, and then I have a panel of service members right here that we're going to definitely talk to, um, and just get their overall interpretation of the things that they went through within the service. Um, the good, the bad, the ugly, things they've seen, people they've encountered, countries they've seen and been to, and just open up the dialogue and get a little bit more information about who's within this metaverse and within Horizon World, and who we can connect to as a whole when we have times of grieving and things like that. So hopefully this right here will be our meeting spot, military minded, hopefully. Again, shout out to Cam Bam for doing a phenomenal job with this thing. He's not here right now, but I definitely know he's with us right now. So I want to say thank you. So again, I appreciate you guys coming through. All the service members that I've been talking to thus far since I've been within Horizon. If you can, I really would want all you guys to get some camera time real quick. So all my service members that are in attendance right now, if you guys can come on the stage real quick and just let everybody know who you are one by one. So come on and step up. All of you guys, all you guys, all you guys, all my
Okay.
service members. Yes, come on up here real quick. Come on up here real quick. Yes, 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 yes. All right, so I want to just get real quick, one at a time. If you guys can just go from left to right or right to left, however you guys prefer. Let people know who you are, where you from, what service you served, and how long you served.
Ladies first.
Okay. So can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All
Nah.
right. So
Um,
I am Sasha on
we
VR.
can't hear.
No.
Okay, yeah, we can.
Okay.
We can hear you
Yeah.
now.
So I'm Sasha on VR. I spent 20 years in the United States Air Force as an air traffic controller. I've been in the metaverse for probably 3 years and some change, and pretty much happy to be here. So yeah, thank you for the space.
Definitely.
Nice meeting you.
Go on ahead.
I'm Wayne's World. I spent 5 years in the Army Reserve, one deployment to Iraq. Happy to be here, and I also work in a full time capacity with service members, helping them with different issues that they may face. So if you need any assistance, please reach out to me. Thank you.
What's up, y'all? I'm Ding Dong. I was in the Navy for 6 years. I'm originally from Manhattan, New York. I got in the metaverse back in August, so very happy to be here. Thank you to Burden for bringing us the space, and Cam Bam also, and also for bringing the show here tonight. So very excited.
I'm Pernicus. I did 14 years active duty in the Air Force and 2 years as a reservist, as a 1 Charlie 6, a space systems operator. In my civilian capacity, I'm a chief engineer at a defense contractor.
And again, real quick, I'm Burden of Proof. Everybody knows I served 12 years in the Marine Corps. I've been a couple of places here and there, if you will. Man, from Hawaii to Japan, DC, Australia, and all other places around the world. But it came with a sacrifice that I think everybody agreed to that's standing up here on this panel. And I think that's some of the things that I really want to talk about and elaborate on was some of the things that some of the sacrifices and the things that people have endured within their struggles, not really struggles, but their careers within the Marine Corps, or not just the Marine Corps, but in the service. Um, for those who have been overseas and things like that, how long were you overseas and how long were you away from your families, if you guys care to share? You on mute, my guy.
I was in Baghdad, Iraq for 8 months and 8 days.
I've been on 7 different deployments. So for me, I've been in Afghanistan, Kuwait, Bahrain. I think the longest deployment that I was on was maybe a year and some change, and that was because I was with an Army detachment. Um, Lived overseas, 6 different countries. But I kind of feel like that doesn't count as far as family, is because my family has always been my military family. And I think for those of us that are military can understand that and have an appreciation for that, because when we go home, we're looked at as a purse. You know, they don't come to see us. They say they miss us, but they don't. Your family starts treating you different because they think you better than them. So not only are we deployed or we out here fighting for our country, but we can't even go home and get rest, when we do get back home. So and again, I think that those of us that served or those of us that are military, I think we can have an understanding and appreciation of what family really is, because our family has just been each other. That's just been my experience.
I deployed when I first started in the Air Force. I was an aviation electrician, so I fixed the Air Force's fleet of logistics birds. The deployment tempo is very high. My daughter was maybe 2 years old. I think she had just turned 2, and she was just getting into that daddy's girl mode. And then one of the guys in my unit, his wife went into labor, and he had his baby. And then the next day, he was saying that he had a deployment that he had to go on like immediately, right? So I volunteered to go in his place, and I ended up at DAFRA. And I would say, like, the separation from family is difficult, and there's statistics showing where that strain on military families causes a higher rate of things like divorce or issues with the teens. It's something that the country said that we're currently addressing. I just hope we continue putting that effort to it, But definitely, when you sign up, you sign the dotted line, you understand that it requires sacrifice, and family time is one of those that you understand you're sacrificing.
Oh, so I had a really weird experience too. So I literally got married 6 months before I deployed, but I didn't even get to spend that quality time because I had to go to schools and deployment training and AT. So I got married like in June and literally spent the next 6 months in schools and different things like that. And then literally came home for like, I think 3 weeks altogether during that time after getting married. And then I was off for 8 months.
I never personally deployed because for whatever reason they told me that my actual MOS was non-mission essential. But as a 4421, which is a legal service chief, I watched so many people come and go in regards to deployments and things like that. And I've seen how people, I mean, it's just as soon as they tell you to pack your bags, you gotta go. I've had to write power of attorneys for mothers and fathers, and so what cousins and aunties can sit there and babysit their kids and things to that nature. So I definitely understand the family sacrifices that went through in regards to some of the things that you went through. But I don't want to make this a situation where we're bashing the military or things like that, because overall I'm grateful for every experience. If not for the military, I won't have my son. So I'm never going to regret anything that I've been through. Again, I just wanted to highlight some of the things that these people as a whole may have experienced coming and going, and some of the sacrifices that were made. But with that being said, for everybody, I just want to know what country did you like the most that you visited when you were in the service or while you were serving?
I'll answer that. I've been to over 90 countries because I've lived in 6 different countries. So it gives you the opportunity to travel because it's cheaper because you already live overseas. My favorite country to live in was Japan, hands down. We were stationed at Yokota Air Force Base. We were considered mainland Japan. So that was probably one of my favorite. Pre-retirement, we lived in England. So that was my second favorite, hands down, because the travel it's almost like you can travel. You know how we have, what's the one here? Southwest, how they have like the $29 deals and stuff like that. You can travel just like that abroad. So um, my favorite country to visit, um, I'm gonna say Ghana, and then I took a flight to Seychelles, which was kind of like their version of the Maldives, but better. So if I had to do a visit, it would definitely be Seychelles. But if I had to a country that I lived in, hands down, Japan all the way. And I have a son that's currently active duty Navy, and he's currently stationed in Japan. So now I have a reason to go back.
Definitely, definitely. Anybody else? Go ahead.
I spent 23 days in Poland, and definitely Poland. Everything was cheap. I think it was like a quarter to a dollar. So like I would get like crazy amounts of sushi that here would be $50. There it was like 24. So most definitely, I'm sorry, it was 12. Most definitely Poland for me.
This is very interesting, by the way.
Let's see.
Just that,
I would say my favorite country to visit is Seychelles. I got engaged in Seychelles actually, and it is a wonderful place. And I was laughing when you said it's like their version of the Maldives, but better, right? Yeah, yeah. I I would say the deployment. I'll put it like this: the deployment where I felt like I did the most was the deployment I took to UAE, because it should be nice, but it wasn't. It was like camping outside of New York City. It was weird. It's crazy. But I was an aviation electrician. I was an aircraft mechanic, and I was involved in the bombing campaigns against Gaddafi at the time, right? And it was really good, really fulfilling work and stuff, you know. Um, yeah. And other than that, I would say my favorite place to live would probably be back home, right? Okay.
Definitely.
that's true.
Must be nice. Well, I haven't been that far abroad, but I would say personally, for me, place to visit, I think I had the most fun was I would say Australia. Personally, I think a hidden gem within the United States is Guam. Um, I think Guam is a phenomenal place that really gets slept on. That if we really do get a chance to, I think I would recommend it. Um, but with that being said, um, I want to ask you guys a question, because I know a lot of us we come into these military situations already with certain characteristics and things like that. I want to know what did the service give you guys that you didn't have? Um, if maybe it character trait or whatever have you, but what did the military give you or instill in you that you didn't have going into it, if that makes sense?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I would definitely say it taught me how to operate as a team. It taught me that in a team unit, in any team unit, I am not the most important person. It's the team. It's everybody. And working on the civilian side, you don't see that as much. You see everybody for themselves. You know, I mean, it's still somebody at the military, but you work as a team. You work as a unit. I have your back. You have my back. I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure you're successful because it directly affects on me and us as a team. So it definitely teamwork and sacrifice and selflessness is what I would have to say.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think for me, it taught me how to how to adapt, and adaptability is huge for me. I actually don't have any sensitivity towards it because I feel like people should be able to adapt to any type of situation and change. And sometimes I have to understand that that is just something that I had to do because I was in the military myself. But change and being able to adapt to any situation is just that's my thing, and that's my strength.
Yeah, and we should have turned the cameras on because we're doing like commercials for the armed services right now, right? I would say the Air Force is an accelerator. See, I came from a prominent and very competitive high school, and there was a lot of the other kids were doing things like going off to like Ivy Leagues or going off to really good schools and stuff. And I figured I had a different plan. If I could do education and experience at the same time, then on the other end of a short time period, I'd be much further ahead of my peers than they were. And the Air Force gave me just that. There's not many places you're going to come out of high school and be working on a $500 million airframe, right? Like it's not going to happen in very many places. So you get this amazing experience. The Air Force was paying for all my degrees, but when it was all said and done, it was 2 associates, a bachelor's, and a master's degree. It's $0 out of my pocket through the Air Force. And what all of that experience plus security clearance and everything else equals money on the other side of the Air Force, like a lot, So I would say the Air Force gave me opportunity and a kind of direction that I didn't have before I had come in.
Yeah, so I would agree with my peers here, definitely, but I would say probably some perspective. So in a couple of ways. The first being when I was in the service, my first few months in, I got in trouble. I was a snotty nosed kid from New York City that thought he kind of knew everything and was untouchable, which I'm sure sounds familiar to some people who know somebody from New York City. And but I figured out real quick that I was kind of sitting in the middle of and under the thumb of a system that was designed to make sure that you either conform or it pushes you out. And so knowing that's the kind of pressure you're under, you really start to look at things and say, like, do I really want to go against the grain and fight a system that's, I mean, incredibly designed to defeat me and squash me if I go against it. And then on the other side of it, I mean, a bad day to the average person is, maybe you're late to work or you're running late. But as you start to sort of be in the military and see some of these rules that you can't say no to, or these requests that you kind of have to follow that are ridiculous, and you start to live those things, a bad day doesn't seem so simple anymore. A bad day is more dramatic, is more drastic. So I think it helped me sort of in that regard for sure.
Mhm. That's a good one.
And you already elaborated on it right there and talking about your job and your profession while you were in the service. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what you did exactly while you were in the service, like each and every one of you guys, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I was a Navy corpsman. So what that is essentially the medical asset for the Navy and Marine Corps. So fun fact about me: if you've been on a cruise, who was it that said?
Yeah.
Was it Mikey? I don't remember. Whoever was
No,
on a
that was
cruise,
me.
you know more
Yeah.
about. Oh, it was okay.
Yeah.
If you've been on a cruise, you know more about a boat than I do. Even though I was in the Navy for 6 years, and the reason for that is because the Marines don't have a medical element of their service. They utilize the Navy's. And so some of us go to the ships and some of us go to the Marines. Majority of the people that go to the ships are, well, up until probably 2014, most of them were women because women could not serve in combat at the time. In a prominent combat role, that was just a rule. And so now there's a lot more mixture, but previously, during my era anyway, if you were a male, you pretty much could bet that you were going to go with the Marines. So I know a lot about Marines. I know a lot about the Marine Corps. I wore a Navy uniform. I wore a Marine uniform. And my job was really just to care for them medically. So, fun fact about that statue right there in the middle, that's the raising of the flag of Iwo Jima, very, very coveted symbol in the military. One of the people in the actual image that was depicted on is a Navy corpsman, and that's just sort of speak to a little bit about the history and sort of our bond. You know, all of those people on that statue look the same, but one of them is not a Marine, and you wouldn't know that by looking at it because I mean, for all intents and purposes, my job is to do what he does. Because I have to look like him so that, you know, the enemy doesn't spot me and say, that's the dude that takes care of him, take him out. I have to look exactly like they look. Obviously, I have my own rank on and it says US Navy, but the camouflage is the same color. And so, you know, I was able to have an opportunity to really develop a relationship with people in another service and see the differences between what I went through as a service member in the Navy versus what they're forced to go through as Marines, and then kind of what the expectation of me is as a sailor that's serving with Marines. A very unusual relationship. We knock on each other a lot, but at the end of the day, you know, I have the utmost respect for Burden, and I don't even have to know the guy because he was a Marine. Because I lived with those people. I slept with them. I woke up with them. They came to get me in the morning. They were comfortable showing me, you know, weird parts of their body so they can ask me what was wrong with them medically. Like, these are my brothers, and it, you know, again, part of it, the women kind of got fused in at a certain point to a much deeper level, and so you started to see those relationships sort of mesh across the genders as well. But I think, you know, even for my sisters with a different regard, on the female side for medical, the same thing, right? The women have this bond with women where you know, like me and Burden could be homies, but I might have seen his balls. I'm not trying to be funny. Like that's what it is. That's the reality of it. I'm being serious. Like that really is
No
the
lies
relationship
told.
that we have. Like I'm there to care for him medically, but I'm also there to have his back. And also, if we're peers, if we're the same rank, or I'm the doc for his platoon, I'm there to be his homie. At the end of the day, that's my brother, and I'm the only person that knows any better. So when they go out into town and they get crazy with somebody that's got something and they're worried because they woke up and they're peeing and it burns, they're gonna come, yo, doc, what's up? Can you know, can you take a look? And, you know, I'm gonna be like, damn, bro, but all that stuff goes out the window. All, you know, all that gay and all, like when you're in medicine, that's what we do. It's not you giggle a little bit in the beginning, but once you do it for so long, you just kind of like, man, it's another day. Hey, man, you know, I got an abscess on my back. Can you check it out? And like, you know, people are asking you all types of what normal people would think is a weird question, but it's really the relationship that we have. So I'm definitely very grateful and utmost respect to Burden and all the service members on stage here. The Army has their own version, the Air Force has their own version as well. So definitely a very pleasant experience. Sorry, I talked a lot.
Nah, you good. Let me elaborate. Let me just elaborate on what he just said about this corpsman shit and how deeply rooted this connection is with these Marines. And he's dead serious. We could be in his office. He could be looking at your butthole one day and 1 minute, and you be right there playing basketball the next. Not like it never happened. And then you right there eating chow with each other. I mean, it's that type of relationship, and it's that type of brotherhood. It's that type of confidentiality to where, like, it's just part of the business. It just comes with the territory. You know what I'm saying? And like, even like the relationship I had with all these people, like I was a 4421. Like, I understood, I did their taxes. You know what I'm saying? I gave them wills and living wills and power of attorneys and things like that. And I had these understandings of these people. And I mean, they took care of my mail. And I mean, and then the other ones, they took care of the food. So I mean, if everybody took care of each other, you know what I'm saying? And no one slacked off on their job. Like, everybody stayed on point, because you staying on your job ensured that individual's day went perfect or went as easy going as possible, because some of us was sitting there in deserts and things like that. And the only thing that we had to rely on was the mail, or the fact that we was going to get a hot meal or something like that. And that's how severe this is, and that's how real this is. And that's what I want to convey to a lot of you guys in regards to, you know what I'm saying, the civilian sector. Like, be grateful and be humble and be appreciative about what you guys have on a day-to-day basis, especially the little things that we take for granted, especially out here with so much of an abundance that we have. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's so many people right now sitting in bunkers and sitting in various places of the world that can't even fathom it right now. I ain't want to jump on all that. Let me go, Sasha, go ahead and talk about what you did. Go ahead.
I was air traffic control So I want to specify what that is because a lot of people think it's the person holding the batons going like this as the airplane is driving by on the taxi. That's not me. I'm the one that's talking to the pilot. So you ever pull up to the airport and you see this big old tower just standing out all by itself, but it's near the airport and it's got this window at the top. That's where I sat. I'm the person that controlled the airspace in the sky. I'm the person that told you if it was clear to land. That was my job. I actually met my husband in the Air Force. He's the person that worked on the radios to talk that so that we could talk to the pilots. So if you ever see red and white checker boxes on the flight line, those are radio receivers, and my husband was communications guy and he worked on those, so it all tied together. He would always come to the control tower and that's how we end up meeting. But yeah, so I'm not the person that does the taxiing. I'm the person that talks to the pilot, that gets you landed and get you home safe. So that was my job in the Air Force for the entire 20 years. And I wanted to add something. Sometimes I intentionally would deploy because my SRB was huge, which was my enlistment bonus, my re-enlistment bonus. And when if you got your re-enlistment bonus while you were
Service record book.
deployed, it was tax free. So that meant that I got all of the money and not them taking like $6,000-7,000 of it. And that's a big thing, especially if you're going to be re-enlisting in the military. So it's something to think about.
So I'm mind blown. Burton actually spoke of it. So I'm the human resource. I was a human resource specialist of 42 Alpha. So when I first got in the military, I went to a unit. Most human resource professionals or specialists end up going to a S1 unit or being S1 ETA unit. I got lucky and I got a whole unit full of 42 Alphas, and we do pretty much 4 things. We handle all postal operations, um, casualty liaison, which means we notify higher commands that a soldier is fallen, theater gateway, and personnel. Um, for me, I got to go to Iraq and I got to deliver the mail, and that sounds like the most luckiest job. I felt like, oh man, I'm really going out here to deliver the mail. Really, somebody from the post office to do that. But I very soon realized that I had one of the most, if not the most, important job in theater. I remember service members coming in that have had a horrible day, that have been out. We call it out the wire, which means they were out there, doing stuff. Yeah, basically they were out there doing stuff. They were out there, bang bang, pow pow.
Bad operations.
Yeah, and me passing them a letter just, I mean, I'm almost in tears. Me passing them a letter just changed their whole day. You seen their face go from, oh man, to like, I got this package. And it took me a while to understand it. And what really made me realize the importance of my job and how detrimental it was to the mission was during Ramadan, which is basically a time when the Middle Eastern countries slow all the way down. Like they do almost no work during this time. We didn't get mail for 3 months. I had a captain come in there and he chewed into my ass. He was like, I can't believe this. What are y'all doing? Da, da, da. I'm going to file a congressional. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I had to tell him, I was like, sir, we have no control. If it was up to me, I would go over there and get your mail. But the U.S. has these weird things where sometimes they have to hire X amount of foreign nationals and they process the mail till it got to us. But it just really taught me that, every job there is an important job. And we got to go AG all the way. Fun fact, personnel is the second oldest MOS. First is combat, and then there was personnel, because you got to get paid. And that's what we did before they had 36 Bravos.
So when I first came in the Air Force, I was an aviation electrician, like I said earlier. That was basically just doing the maintenance on the Air Force's aircraft while they sit and wait on the flight line, waiting to be launched. the electric shop, we used to say, we take care of everything that sparks, sucks, and blows. Right. Okay. Anybody? Yeah. But I finished my undergraduate in space sciences. So I cross trained over to space systems operations to 1 Charlie 6. So that moved me into a different command from air mobility over into space command. While I was in space command, I got to work on some of the nation's national space assets. So ground-based radars placed about the country designed to track satellites and missiles and flying satellites that provide support for communications or for position navigation and timing like GPS, which not only supports the military, but also all of you, because that's how all of our bank transactions happen. And that's how the Wall Street operates, right? So there's a critical underlining point to the mission to Space Command too, that we're like literally defending Western civilization. And it's been exciting, you know, like everybody that was paying attention during the first Persian Gulf War when we invaded Saddam Hussein would have noted that we were using satellites to like park missiles in people's chimneys and outmaneuver Saddam in his own desert and control these crazy stealth flying jets and stuff. And if they were paying attention, then they would know, like it's been publicly stated, that the country's Achilles heel would be its space assets. So everybody that competes with us is building those weapons now. So it's a very exciting field to get into. It's also very, very lucrative. I'm going to be the money guy up here, okay? Like science and technology, any kind of STEM in the United States goes a very long way, especially when you're talking doing contracts for the Department of Defense, right? It's such a massive amount of money. It accounts for 51% of everything the United States spends money on, right? Something to think about. And that start was very simple. Just went to the recruiter's office and signed up for something that looked technical in nature. And while I was in, I made the Air Force pay for education that was in an applicable field. That's the formula. It works. But,
So, real quick, before y'all get y'all out of here, is there anything in regards to what you guys endured or been through that you would do over within your career or adjust?
I mean, honestly, I would do it all over again. Yes, there were so many times that sucked, but at the same time, there were so many times that I look at my life now and realize that I wouldn't be where I am today without those times. I wouldn't be the person. I wouldn't have the character. I wouldn't have the endurance to what they spoke on. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't have all those great things without the military. I remember joining the military. I was failing out of college. Had no motivation. Was kind of over it. Honestly, was that close to just blow my fucking head off. Um, but it gave me a sense of purpose, and not necessarily a sense of purpose where it was just for the country. It gave me that I was part of something bigger than myself. I was part of a team. I had people that depended on me and I depended on them. And I know, like right now, without a shadow of a doubt, I could call 99% of those people and they would move heaven and earth to make sure that I was okay. So I would do it all over again.
Yeah, I mean, if the question is if there's anything that I would change, yes, I definitely could, and I think each of us could probably go our whole lives without being OC sprayed. I would have not have volunteered to do that ever again. I would never do it again. And I shouldn't have done it to begin with. It is not a fun experience, so I would not recommend it to anybody. But like my brother Wayne said, even before I knew any of these people, I had conversations with them. I just met Sasha earlier today, and she's my sister. Sasha's my sister, right? Because it doesn't matter that we didn't serve together at the same time or in the same service. I know what she raised her right hand to do, and she knows what I raised my right hand to do, and that's meaningful. The details are going to be different, right? Our careers and what we've done. She's in longer than I was. She was in a different service, but the reality is we were both willing to do the same things, and that is where the value comes in. So much respect to my peers up here, really, honestly.
Go ahead, man.
What would I do different? I think I would have got more. I did good by getting a lot of certifications, but I would have gotten a little bit more. Um, and I feel like that's one thing that I would have changed. It's one thing that I went to school for free and all these other things, but there were a lot of other opportunities that I think I kind of skipped out on because I allowed my feelings to get in the way or of situations and things like that. So I would have gotten more certifications because the military provided them. Yeah, that's really it, I think. Also, I just want to add to just listening to just my brothers and my fellow battles speak. I want to kind of I don't, and I'm not even trying to speak ahead, Burden. I feel like it should show that we're not joining the military because we stupid, like that myth that's out there. You know, a lot of people join the military for different reasons, and being stupid and low income isn't always the reason. And I think that's also one of the things that too that kind of goes with my reason for joining, which is why I don't have any regrets about joining because I had to make the military work for me. My father is a retired command sergeant major. He was the post command sergeant major at one point of an army base, but my father was also very abusive and sending me to school with black eyes and bruises. But I knew the military would protect me, not the army, but I knew the Air Force would. So I joined the military to get away from an abusive household, not because I couldn't do anything else. And I think that people need to sometimes have a little bit more respect for why we joined and stops being so quick to say, well, you got separated from your kids because that's what you chose to do. We know we chose to do this. Okay. Um, but there's so many reasons behind some of our choices. And I'm sorry, Burden, if I overstep, but I just wanted to
Oh,
say
no,
that.
no, 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 man, no. Shoot, no, you didn't. Hey, and that's 100% true. Yeah, we joined, but the circumstances completely different in regards to some of these reasonings and things like that. And sometimes you don't get the opportunities to experience those things until you are in a situation. I was 17. Like
Mhm.
I was 17. I learned how to be a man in this trial and error the whole way. I hit every fucking speed bump known to man trying to figure this shit out. You know what I'm saying? At 17, you know, I couldn't pick my father out of a lineup to win the Mega Million. But I know there's a million and one of these Marines out here and some of my service members that I know I can call on and that's going to hold me down. And I know that. And that's what I gained through the military service and things like that, that I didn't have when outside of that. I mean, I literally learned how to become a young man within this space and within those 12 years. And there was a lot of trial and error. And if there was anything that I could change, man, sheesh God. Man, I wouldn't change the military experience, but certain things that I did personally, I think I would change. I got married very young, but in getting married when I was young, I if I could change it, I would have been a better husband and a better understander of what she needed from me emotionally, so we can make that last longer. Because we generated a son within that, and that means everything to me. You know what I'm saying? My son being and creating a situation for him that I never had. It was all I ever wanted. So if I could change anything, I definitely would do that. In regards to just going out and seeing more of these countries that I was abroad to. You know what I'm saying? I personally was engulfed in my work. And I wanted my work to speak volumes for who I was as a person and things like that. So I really didn't get to smell the roses, if you will, and look around and take in all the beautiful countries and things like that that I was around, and really take that into consideration, because I really wanted to be perfect at my job and wanted to be like this stellar Marine all the time. So if I could change anything, I definitely would change that as well. So definitely. Pernicus, you got anything, my guy?
Uh, yeah, I think for things that I would change, the Air Force or the Space Force, I would say understanding salaries are mandated by Congress. for military personnel to get paid in a manner that is comparable to what their civilian counterparts are getting paid. Because it, you know, in DC, you'll make pretty good money as a sergeant. You know, E5, E6 around there. You know, I'd say it's like around 70, 75K, something like that. When industry goes to that same sergeant and offers them 160K, you just lost a sergeant. So there's a danger with not having the right types of personnel or at the right level of technical expertise in the military to continue doing these crazy technological things that we do. You know, for me personally, what would I change? You know, the aircraft maintenance thing sucked. The Air Force flies those planes like 20 years past their service lives. And, you know, there's times where I had my fingers lodged in some crud and I was thinking, you know what, this shit's probably older than me. And there was a lot of like freezing outside on the flight line or baking in the Dhofra sun, right? But there's this old saying. It's there's two types of engineers. There's the ones with oil on their fingers and the ones with ink on their fingers. You know, I think that for me that was critical in understanding the systems that I later built, right? Understanding like what breaks, understanding what pains the mechanics, how we can have maintenance in mind when we're developing these new systems. So I wouldn't change that at all. Yeah. That's probably one of the most valuable lessons I got from the Air Force, both for career and for personality, right? Is a humbling.
Definitely, definitely.
Did you?
Go
If I
ahead.
could just add something real quick.
Yeah.
So kind of to Pernicus's point, like when we're going through transition readiness, as we're deciding to step away from the military, whether that be retirement or just separation, voluntary and involuntary, one of the things they make us go through is transition readiness, and its purpose was something that's really, you know, I mean, it's a good idea, but I don't know that it's applied right. And the biggest issue I see is that a lot of the skills that you have in the military and the things that you do, it's difficult for those things to translate to the real world, and you sort of have to play a lot with the wording and how you sort of describe what you did, so that somebody on the opposite end of the table can understand what it is. And in some cases, that's really defeating. But also, like if you were an infantry marine, they have trouble, particularly in the infantry MOS, even in another service, they have difficulty articulating how I can be valuable to you when I learned how to shoot guns and take a hill or go into a fighting hole and wait for an enemy to come, or survey the scene, or run. I'm up, he sees me, I'm down. Those types of things. How do I tell an employer what I did, or how could I be useful to the organization? You guys don't have guns. You don't need anybody to shoot a target, and you don't need somebody with incredible endurance. But there's small elements of that you can sort of break down. One, the military should do a better job as a whole at sort of making those things translatable. In that, if you have a position or a role, the civilians should really be the ones doing the legwork to figure out what that is. I mean, why do I have to sort of make that? You guys have the language. Why do I have to come up with it? Now, I think many of us do because we have no other choice. We want to survive, but I don't think it should be a burden on us, because it's the military's the whole Department of Defense that's creating this language and these job descriptions and in the way that we speak. Another thing is, I can only speak for me, but I'm certain that there's other jobs that have this. But I mentioned, I was a Navy corpsman. That's like it would be the equivalent to like sometimes a nurse, sometimes a medical assistant, sometimes an LPN. It depends. So it's not really that difficult for me to tell you what I did, but there is a type of corpsman called an independent duty corpsman, which is it's an E5 minimum. I think these days they take E4s because of a shortage, but essentially they go to an accelerated program for a year, and they literally learn to be physician's assistants. And they're homegrown. That's the military way. The military loves saving money by just teaching people stuff from the ground up, instead of paying them what they would be worth. And so these people learn, they prescribe medications, they go out into the field by themselves and operate independent of MD. They literally operate like PAs, minus the licensure. And then when they get out of the military, they have nothing except knowledge. They don't have any certification, they don't have any degree, they get nothing. So they go to school and they have these nice bonuses, which is probably what really entices them. And they learn all this information that can be useful in the real world. They prescribe medications. I mean, think about how important that is. Like, they literally see you, evaluate you, assess you, and prescribe you medications on a military endorsed system. And then you say, all right, you're going to separate from the military, and now you're nobody. You're nothing. Everything that you know is just what you have in your head. You need to go to school now and get the other half of it. So you need, even though you have master's degree knowledge as far as a physician's assistant in their program, you need to still go to school and get that degree because that's what satisfies us. And I just think that that type of stuff is really unfair. Same thing for I don't know if this is true for Burden, but if he was to get all this information about legal and a lot of the ins and outs and sort of those nuances, and that wasn't even comparable to like a paralegal or even moving towards a lawyer or giving him some credit in that regard, that's nonsense. So that's my piece.
I wasn't going back into legal any damn way. No, but I'm saying. So I ain't need it anyway. No, I'm just playing. No, but I definitely learned a lot. But to that, I mean, that's what made me go get my bachelor's and what made me get my master's anyway, just to have those checks in the box. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, it afforded you the chance. I mean, they gave you a shit. They gave you the free money. I had to take it. So, you know, but to your point, I definitely agree in regards to certain things that can be translatable better for the military, because I actually applied because I do a lot of things with kids and things like that for a park and recreation job within the city that I work in California. And because I don't understand the verbiage of how to translate what I did within the Marine Corps too well to get these civilians to understand it, they overlooked me for the job, and I'm damn near overqualified for it if you really think about it. But you would never know that unless you understand the type of language that, you know what I'm saying, coming from a military perspective and things like that. So definitely, if I can, that definitely should change as well. I definitely agree. I know maybe there are some people in the audience that have a question. I mean, we have some service members up here. Maybe you guys have family members that may want to join, or you might have any of your own questions. If you do have a question, you can come and step up right here because it's global on the stage. If you want to, if you have a question before we get up out of here.
What's up, yo?
Drew.
What's up, everybody else there, man? Thank y'all for y'all service, most definitely. What's up, Burn? Anybody in the Air Force in here? Anybody in the Air Force?
Me. I spent 20 years, and Pernicus is he was prior active and now he's reserve, so he can also.
Bro, where you been, man? I ain't seen you in about 30 years. Man,
30 metaverse years, right? How you been, brother? How you
heck
been?
yeah, bro. Where you been, bro?
Peace. Power.
All right,
Good work,
so
keep
I
trying.
brought it
There we
up
go.
because when I was young, I did want to join the Air Force. What's my question? Oh shit. Well, my question, I'm about to start telling privately about that because y'all may be briefed on some shit y'all can talk about.
We couldn't hear you.
I may not ask that.
Come up here to the
Andrew,
mic.
come here, man.
Closer.
Yeah,
Y'all hear me?
there you go, right
Yeah,
there.
so I may not ask that. I was gonna probably ask them some stuff that they briefed on. They probably can't talk about. But I would say what's the most interesting thing that you've seen or done in the Air Force that you could talk about, even if you probably can't talk about it. Ain't nobody listening.
The most interesting thing,
Yeah.
I think my job as an air traffic controller, being
Okay.
able to have that type of control over officers that were hard-headed as fuck, that was disrespectful to you. And you
Yeah.
controlled when they could and couldn't land. If they was like 2 miles out on low on gas, you didn't really care. But
I'm dead.
but I will say
love it.
this. I think one of the most interesting things with having that job is we actually saw some objects in the sky that we couldn't identify that were
That's what I'm
not
talking about.
of
UFOs.
American
flying objects.
aircraft. I
There
will
you
say
go.
that I got to see that one time in my
Hold up.
That's
Crack
so
over here
dope.
jumping up and down like she done saw about 5 of them or something. What?
I have.
Come on up
I
there,
actually
Crack.
have. In San Juan, Puerto Rico, I
Hey.
have saw UFOs in person, and I wanted to ask her, had she seen any? So
Mhm.
she
I
answered
was
my
stationed
question.
in
Period.
Holloman.
So I'm
I was
excited.
stationed in New Mexico.
That's what I was trying to
I
get
know
to,
I ain't
but not
motherfucking
get
crazy
to,
now for sure.
you know.
Period. Thank you,
I bet
military
you
people. I
ain't.
love y'all. Thank y'all for y'all service.
Well, the government has
And
came
to this
out
day, my
and
husband tells me I'm
talked
full of
about it.
shit,
So,
but I know what I saw.
well, the government has came out and talked about it. You know, it's files out there already that they put out that the Navy seen and stuff. So the stuff out there already. So it ain't no
Yeah.
secret. It's aliens and
of course
UFOs,
there
y'all.
is.
they'll be here soon.
Yeah.
Of course there
That's
is.
really
That
true.
is,
Not
I mean, it's
soon.
like that's really, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Well,
Oh,
when the cat's out the bag, I guess then, huh?
oh, Burden, we were
Go
about
ahead,
to.
go
Oh,
ahead,
snap! they
Pernicus.
can't-
What was your interesting?
Go ahead, P.
No, I was gonna tell you, Andrew, that you're right. You know, I'll put on my scientist cap. Like, think about it. If the processes that made our star were natural, and those processes that made the Earth were natural, and the processes that made us were natural, then it's just logical to think that there's that same process happening somewhere else, right? So,
Exactly.
that being said, I'm not talking about UFOs up here. You're right.
Period.
I can't talk about
We'll talk privately. We'll talk privately.
So you do what you will with that information. Do what you will with that information. Thank you guys for coming through, man. I really appreciate it. Pernicus, man. You just walked up in here like you was parting the Red Sea or something, man. I'm like, what the hell? Who the hell is that? I'm like, oh, okay, there go Pernicus. I can tell the walk. It's the walk. He coming through the Iwo Jima Memorial. I'm like, okay, he here. You know, so but I mean, again, that's just a testament to like how service members stick together, you know what I'm saying, and come together for each other and things like that. And I appreciate you guys spending some time and sharing with some people that I definitely hold close to me, you know what I'm saying, within this metaverse and things like that that I enjoy being around. So thank you guys for sharing the information. It's been a blast and getting my mind off of losing my uncle, because that was definitely something that I've been dealing with. Me and my brother right here been driving me crazy. But definitely, like I said before, in closing, he was definitely my Iron Man. He told me to come into the Marine Corps. He told me because of my attitude, I would be just fine. And now I understand what he's talking about, because everything that I'm about, I stood on while I was in the Marine Corps. And even though everything didn't pan out the way it was supposed to, I know I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be for this world and for my purpose. And so I can't be mad about that. I can't be apologetic about that. I'm going to push forward, and I'm going to keep moving for the sake of me, my family, and definitely my son and everybody else in between. So I appreciate you guys for coming through. Thank you guys for sharing information and being a part of my journey. And we're going to keep pushing this Ask the Q, Speak the Truth thing as much as we can. Speak the Truth may be coming sooner than later, huh, Crack? Yeah, that's going to be a whole nother thing. So look forward to that. MF Son, man, I miss anything? You know you're on mute.
Always.
But you never miss anything, Burden. You do a great job. What a great show. We thank all of the military services that are here. If we could all just understand as a brotherhood, as humanity, the way that you guys get along, the world could be a better place. And because you're in it, I believe that it can. Thank everybody for coming out. Please be safe in those meta streets and be kind. Peace out, y'all.
Can I ask?
Appreciate you guys. West Side, you good, my guy? Come get it.
Sasha want to add something real fast.
Hold on. West Side. Wait. Come in, Sasha. Come on.
I just want to tell y'all, I know a lot of people are always asking what they can send the troops and stuff while they're deployed, the soldiers that are deployed. If you guys have like Halloween candy when Halloween comes, and those candies that go on sale for 75% off, there's a site, anysoldier.com. I think that's the right thing, or you can Google it and look it up. If not, I can get the right information. But also check your local Red Crosses and places like that, because they're sending boxes over there, but you can do it yourself. A lot of women need tampons and maxi pads and toilet paper, old books that you've thrown away, all types of stuff, footballs that your kids don't want, even if it's the mini footballs. Go to like the Dollar Tree and get whatever y'all think y'all can put together and send it to the troops over there, because you'd be surprised, like he was saying, how many don't, their families, they send them off on that bus and wave goodbye, and they not thinking about them troops no more after that. Let's just keep it real. And some of them don't get nothing. So the only thing you're gonna have
What's
to
the
do that
website
may
again?
seem hard is fill out a white customs form, and that's it. It's anysoldier.com. If it's not .com, it may be .org, but I can look real quick and get that info. But
It is.
just
It's
something to
.com,
think about.
Sasha. It's .com.
Okay, it is .com.
We'll get it, and we'll put it on T-Bot
Okay.
Instagram,
Okay.
and we'll shoot that out to everybody.
Okay.
They
Hey,
also
MF
have
Wayne,
like
okay.
no. They also have a special box. Like it's a special box that you get. It's not a lot, but you get $1 off if you send it to an APO or FPO. As well. Don't send chocolate. Don't send food that's gonna spoil. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. A lot of the food that spoils is gonna sit somewhere out in the sun for 3 days and recook. I mean, 3 weeks and then recook, and nobody want to deal with that. But definitely, like you said, send candies that ain't chocolate that don't melt. S- don't send socks. We have plenty of socks. We they give us socks. But tampons, pads, stuff like that. I had a bad buddy. She was trying to save money because she lives in a school bus, and she didn't want to spend any money she got during deployment. So that was literally her lifeline, was stuff that people mailed that she could use for personal hygiene. And I mean, that ain't, I guess, the best outlook, but she got her mission accomplished. She has a house now, but she was trying to get a school bus. So keep that in mind too. So definitely those women personal hygiene items, definitely send those.
Yeah, Chef Boyardee Campbell soup. If you think we don't like it, search up meal ready to eat on Google and buy you one, and then taste it, and you'll see. You'll see. You just pour the water in the packet that has a little white packet in it. It'll start to heat up, and you slide that bad boy right in there. About 5 minutes, start chowing down. When you taste that, you'll know why people in jail eat better than that. You'll know exactly why we like Chef Boyardee and all that.
I eat dirt first.
Hey, if I can have everybody come up here as well so we can get a picture, I'll be appreciative. I thank you guys. West Side, it's on you, my guy. Thanks again, y'all. Yes, Crack and Southern, come on, get up here. Don't play with me.
Everybody
on.
out there, bring y'all butts up here. Let's go. Everybody to the stage. Everybody to the stage. Southern, wake up.
Yes. Come on, Irene, move, boy.
Come on, ho.
Boy, how
Get
you
up
get
here,
this
ho.
expensive ass? Irene, I'm trying to.
Shay, Divine, get y'all
Oh,
butts
thank
up
you,
here.
bro.
All kinds of
Hey, my
rules.
brother Frozen.
She
He
ain't
need
let
to
go of
move
that
his ass
man
out the
yet.
damn way.
Miss Torin, Nicole, get up here. Come on, Divine.
Well, we all in there. We all in there. We good?
Okay.
We good? We got it? Everybody in there. One.